Dr. Maya Caldwell entered the gym like a breeze in a storm. The air reeked of sweat, noise, and arrogance, men flexing, shouting, proving power with bruises. Derek Diesel Brannigan, the MMA trainer who ruled the ring like a tyrant, spotted her calm and saw weakness. To him, she was just a middle-aged black woman with no business stepping onto his mats. A target to humiliate, a lesson to teach. But Maya Caldwell wasn't new to battles. She'd fought quieter wars her whole life. When Derek forced her into the ring 30 seconds later, the storm turned, and the trainer lay knocked out cold. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. The Saturday morning sun streamed through the tall windows of Brannigan Combat Systems, casting long shadows across the blue mats. Dr. Maya Caldwell's Honda Civic pulled into the parking lot, its tires crunching on loose gravel. She glanced at her grandnephew Jamal in the passenger seat, his 14-year-old face a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Remember what we talked about," Maya said, her voice steady and warm. "You're here to learn defense, not to start fights." Jamal nodded, fidgeting with his gym bag. "I know, Aunt Maya. Thanks for bringing me." The gym's glass doors displayed a massive decal of a snarling bulldog. Inside, the air smelled of sweat and rubber mats. Heavy bags swayed slightly from earlier use, and the thud-thud of someone working mitts echoed from a corner. Maya's eyes swept across the walls, taking in the oversized posters of Derek Diesel Brannigan. In each one, his muscled arms were crossed or raised in victory, tattoos rippling beneath fluorescent lights. The largest poster declared, in bold red letters, "Respect is earned through pain." The morning class was already underway. 20 students, mostly teenagers, paired up on the mats. A young instructor with gelled hair demonstrated a basic shoulder lock. "Keep that arm extended," he called out, cranking his partner's arm. "More pressure equals more respect." Maya's lips tightened as she watched Jamal's partner copying the move. The boy's shoulder joint twisted at a dangerous angle. "Jamal," she said quietly, stepping forward, "modify that grip. You'll hurt your shoulder joint if you hyperextend like that." The young instructor's head snapped toward her. "Excuse me? The shoulder's natural range of motion doesn't—" Maya began. Well. A deep voice cut through the gym's noise. Derek Brannigan emerged from his office, his 6'2" frame commanding immediate attention. "Looks like we've got ourselves an expert." The class stopped, all eyes turning toward Maya. She stood straight, her athletic frame still fit from years of running track and maintaining her own exercise regimen. "I'm a physical therapist," she said simply. "That position risks injury." Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Oh, Auntie thinks she knows MMA better than my instructors?" His voice dripped with mock surprise. Students snickered. "I know anatomy," Maya replied, her tone professional but firm. "And that technique needs modification." Derek walked closer, his presence filling the space between them. "You know what? Instead of backseat coaching, why don't you show us what you know?" He gestured to the center mat. "Come on, let's give these kids a real demonstration." Maya shook her head. "I'm here for Jamal's class, not to spar." "Afraid?" Derek's grin widened. "Come on, we'll go light." 1 minute, soft touch. He raised his voice, playing to the crowd. "You said you know the body, right?" More laughter rippled through the room. Jamal stood frozen, his eyes darting between his aunt and the imposing gym owner. Maya felt the heat of anger in her chest, but her face remained composed. She'd spent decades dealing with this kind of condescension. The smart move was to walk away, but sometimes wisdom meant standing your ground. 1 minute, she said finally. "With conditions." Derek's eyebrows rose. "Name them." No headshots, no takedowns. Maya's voice was clear and firm. Light contact only, as you said. Deal! Derek clapped his hands. Everyone clear the mat! The students scrambled to form a circle, phones appearing in eager hands. Derek grabbed 2 pairs of 16-ounce gloves and headgear from a nearby rack. Safety first, he announced, with exaggerated courtesy. Wouldn't want Auntie getting hurt. Maya allowed him to strap the gloves onto her hands, his fingers lingering too long on her wrists. She noticed how he positioned himself to tower over her, a classic intimidation tactic. Don't embarrass yourself, Grandma, he whispered, close enough that only she could hear. Maya met his gaze steadily. She saw past the swagger to something smaller, something that needed to dominate to feel strong. She'd seen it countless times in her career, the ones who confused violence with power. The young instructor stepped into the center with a timer. 1 minute on the clock. Maya rolled her shoulders, settling into a neutral stance. Derek bounced on his toes, showing off for his audience. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and somewhere in the back, a heavy bag chain creaked. The bell dinged. The bell's sharp ring cut through the tension. Derek stepped forward, hands lazily raised, a smirk playing across his face. His footwork was casual, almost dismissive, as he rolled his shoulders and bounced on the balls of his feet. Maya settled into her stance, knees slightly bent, weight distributed evenly. Years of sprint training had taught her the importance of a solid base. She could feel the familiar coil of controlled power in her legs, the same sensation she'd known on the college track field. Derek threw out a lazy jab, more showboating than striking. The movement was designed to make her flinch, to draw laughs from his audience. Instead, Maya slipped inside with the fluid grace of someone who'd studied body mechanics for decades. Her left hook whipped into his ribs with a sharp thud that echoed through the gym. The crowd's laughter died instantly. Derek's smirk tightened. He charged forward, throwing a looping overhand right that whistled past Maya's head. She angled off, pivoting smoothly on her back foot. Her calf kick landed with surgical precision, connecting just below his knee. Derek's front leg buckled slightly, and for a moment, surprise flashed across his face. Recovering quickly, Derek lunged forward and grabbed Maya in a clinch. His bulk pressed down as he tried to use his size advantage, muscling her toward the edge of the mat. Maya felt his forearm pressing against her throat, a dirty move that violated their light touch agreement. She didn't panic. Instead, she framed with her forearm, creating space while protecting her neck. Her knee shot up, connecting solidly with his outer thigh. The impact made Derek grunt. Maya disengaged cleanly, sliding back to maintain optimal distance. Frustration darkened Derek's features. The showman's smile had vanished, replaced by something uglier. He swung again, a wild hook that betrayed his growing anger. Maya parried the punch, feeling the force slide past her guard. She stepped in, her movements precise. Jab, jab, cross. The combination flowed like water. Each punch landed clean, snapping Derek's head back. The gym had gone completely silent, except for the sharp sound of gloves meeting their target. Derek's composure cracked. He lunged forward clumsily, dropping his guard. Maya saw the opening with perfect clarity. Her rear straight shot out like a piston, connecting flush with his chin. The impact was clean, technical, devastating. Derek's eyes went blank before he hit the mat. His body fell backward, limbs stiffening as he crashed onto the blue padding. The sound seemed to echo forever in the sudden silence. Maya's breath slowed as she lowered her hands. The timer on the wall read 0.28. She could hear phones clicking as everyone recorded could feel the weight of dozens of stunned stares. "Auntie!" Jamal's whisper carried in the quiet gym. "You knocked him out." Maya looked at her grandnephew's wide eyes, then at the circle of shocked faces. Young students who had been laughing minutes ago now stood frozen. The young instructor's mouth hung open. Derek lay motionless on the mat, though his chest rose and fell steadily. Two of his assistant coaches rushed forward to check on him. Maya took a step back, giving them space. Her hands were steady as she began unwrapping the gloves. She'd thrown each punch with control, precision, and necessity, exactly as she'd learned to handle every challenge in her life. The silence stretched on, broken only by the soft sounds of Derek beginning to stir. Maya felt the familiar weight of being watched, being judged, being underestimated, and then feared. But this time was different. This time, she'd shown exactly who she was. Not just a physical therapist, not just an auntie, but someone who commanded respect through skill and control rather than intimidation. She placed the gloves carefully on a nearby bench, her movements deliberate and calm. The headgear followed. Someone's phone chimed with a notification, the sound startlingly loud in the quiet gym. Maya turned to Jamal, who still stood rooted to his spot, eyes darting between her and Derek's slowly recovering form. The morning sun continued to stream through the windows, catching dust motes in its beams. The gym's normal sounds, the creak of heavy bags, the hum of the ventilation system, the distant traffic outside, seemed to fade back in gradually, as if the world was slowly starting to turn again. Maya's training clothes showed barely a wrinkle. Not a hair had fallen out of place from her neat bun. She stood straight, composed, the same way she'd entered the gym less than an hour ago. But now the space felt different. The posters on the wall, with their slogans about pain and respect, seemed somehow smaller. Maya sat at her kitchen table that evening, watching steam rise from her chamomile tea. The familiar scent usually calmed her nerves, but tonight her phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications. Across the table, Jamal hunched over his own phone, his face tight with concern. "Auntie, you need to see this," he said, sliding his phone toward her. "The video's everywhere, but something's not right." Maya leaned forward, adjusting her reading glasses. The clip started with her already in the ring, throwing the first punch. There was no context, no sign of Derek's taunting, no evidence of him cornering her into the fight. The comments below made her stomach turn. "Psycho grandma attacks instructor. Who let this crazy woman in a gym? She should be arrested." Maya set the phone down carefully. "They cut out the beginning." "I know," Jamal's voice cracked with frustration. "They can't see how he was bullying you, how he promised to go light. It's not fair." "Life rarely is, baby." Maya took another sip of tea, her hand steady despite the anger building in her chest. The kitchen clock ticked loudly in the silence, marking time as their phones continued to buzz. The next morning brought gray skies and a sharp knock at her door. Maya opened it to find Officer Rick Brannigan standing on her porch, his badge gleaming. The family resemblance was unmistakable. The same square jaw as Derek, the same cold eyes. "Dr. Caldwell." His tone was professionally flat, but she caught the hint of satisfaction underneath. "We need to discuss an incident at Brannigan Combat Systems yesterday morning." Maya stepped aside, letting him enter. Her living room, with its carefully arranged family photos and academic certificates, felt suddenly smaller. "Your brother agreed to a light sparring match," Maya said, keeping her voice level. "There were dozens of witnesses who heard him consent." "Ma'am?" Rick cut her off, pulling out a citation book. "What witnesses saw was you knocking out a licensed instructor during a beginner's class. That's assault. It was a consensual demonstration. You're lucky it's just a misdemeanor." He tore off the citation and held it out. "My brother's being generous, considering the circumstances." Maya took the paper, noting how his fingers never touched hers during the exchange. Her phone pinged again, another notification about the viral video. After Officer Brannigan left, Maya checked her email. Among the flood of hostile messages was one that stood out. The subject line read, "I have the full video. Ariel G., independent journalist." The email explained that Ariel ran a YouTube channel investigating gym abuse cases. She'd received footage from a parent showing the entire confrontation, including Derek's initial harassment and the light touch agreement. Maya was still considering the email when Monday morning arrived. Her physical therapy clinic had stood on the same corner for 15 years, building a reputation through dedicated care and professional excellence. Sarah, her receptionist of 5 years, met her at the door with panic in her eyes. "Dr. Caldwell, you need to see this." She turned her computer monitor around, showing their clinic's review page. Hundreds of one-star reviews had appeared overnight. They scrolled endlessly. "Dangerous woman who attacks people. Would you trust your injury to someone this violent? Stay away if you value your safety." Maya's hands gripped the edge of the reception desk, her knuckles whitening. The same knuckles that had defended her dignity were now being used to destroy her livelihood. "They're all from fake accounts," Sarah said, scrolling through the reviews, "created in the last 12 hours. But people are already canceling appointments." The waiting room, usually full of morning patients, sat empty. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting bars of shadow across the floor. Maya could hear the gentle bubble of the water cooler, the hum of the heating system, all the normal sounds of a workday that was anything but normal. Her phone buzzed again. Another email from Ariel G. "Dr. Caldwell, this is a coordinated attack. I've seen it before. Let me help." Maya looked around her clinic, at the anatomy charts on the walls, the therapeutic equipment she'd invested in over the years, the comfortable chairs where patients waited to heal. Everything she'd built was under siege because she'd dared to stand up for herself. Sarah cleared her throat. "Dr. Caldwell, what should we do about today's appointments?" Maya straightened her white coat, smoothing out invisible wrinkles. "We keep the doors open, Sarah. We treat anyone who comes in. And we document everything. Every cancellation, every review, every piece of this campaign against us." She walked to her office, each step measured and deliberate. The morning sun caught her degrees on the wall, years of education, dedication, and hard work gleaming behind glass. Maya sat at her desk, opened her laptop, and began composing a reply to Ariel G. The keyboard clicked steadily under her fingers as she typed, "Let's talk." 3 days crawled by like molasses. Maya sat at her desk, staring at the thick legal envelope that had just arrived by courier. The paper felt expensive between her fingers as she pulled out the letter, its threatening language wrapped in lawyer speak. "Dear Dr. Caldwell," she read aloud, her voice steady despite the growing knot in her stomach. "Our client, Derek Brannigan, is pursuing legal action for assault and damages to his professional reputation." The numbers jumped off the page. $10,000 for medical expenses, plus a demand for a public apology, and her signature on a non-disclosure agreement. Maya's hands tightened on the paper, crinkling its pristine edges. Her phone buzzed with another notification. Someone had tagged her in a new post from Derek's Instagram. The photo showed him at his gym, leaning dramatically on a sleek black cane. His caption read, "Recovery is a journey. Grateful for all the support after being attacked by an unhinged woman. Stay strong, Chaiderchu, fighter." The comments section overflowed with sympathy. "You're so brave, coach. Can't believe she's not in jail. Praying for your recovery." Below the photo was an announcement. "Thanks to our sponsors at Power Fuel Supplements for their generous support during this difficult time." The post had thousands of likes. Sarah knocked softly before entering Maya's office. "Dr. Caldwell, Officer Brannigan is here again." Maya nodded, tucking the legal letter into her desk drawer. Rick Brannigan filled her doorway, his uniform crisp, his expression a mask of false concern. "Doc," he said, closing the door behind him, "let's talk straight. You're in over your head." "Am I?" Maya kept her voice neutral, her posture relaxed. Rick leaned against her filing cabinet, arms crossed. "Derek's got backing. Big backing. Sponsors, lawyers, friends in places that matter. You?" He shrugged. "You've got a small clinic and a viral video making you look unhinged. I have the truth." "Truth?" Rick laughed, but his eyes remained cold. "Truth is what people believe, Doc. And right now, they believe my brother. Drop it. Sign the papers. Move on." Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. It was the front desk again. "Dr. Caldwell, there's a reporter here to see you." "Ariel G.?" Minutes later, Ariel burst into the office like a gust of wind, barely waiting for Rick to leave. She was younger than Maya expected, maybe early 30s, with quick eyes that took in everything. "Dr. Caldwell," Ariel said, pulling out a tablet, "this goes deeper than one fight. Derek's got connections, sponsorship deals with 3 major supplement companies, training contracts with the police department, and a history of similar incidents that got buried." Maya watched as Ariel swiped through documents on her screen. Similar incidents? 4 other women filed complaints about aggressive demonstrations at his gym. All disappeared after legal threats. Ariel leaned forward. "But you're different. You won. And we have witnesses." "Had witnesses," Maya corrected. "They're all going quiet." "Then let me tell your story. On record. My channel has 500,000 subscribers. People who care about exposing abuse of power." Maya stood up, walking to her window. Outside, patients were arriving for afternoon appointments, moving carefully with their various injuries. People who trusted her to heal them. "I can't risk my license," she said finally. "Not until I understand the legal situation completely." "They're counting on your fear," Ariel pressed. "Derek's building his narrative while you stay silent. Every day you wait." "I wait until I know the law," Maya cut in firmly. "This isn't just about me anymore. It's about my patients, my staff, my practice." Ariel nodded slowly, respecting the boundary. She left her card on Maya's desk. "When you're ready, call me. But don't wait too long." Stories like this have a shelf life. That evening, Maya stood in her bathroom, examining her reflection in the harsh fluorescent light. Her hands still showed faint bruises from the fight, not from hitting Derek, but from his grip when he'd forced the gloves on her. She flexed her fingers, remembering the moment everything changed. "He wanted a fight," she whispered to her reflection. "Now he'll get one." The bathroom light hummed overhead as she studied her face. The same face that had appeared in countless hostile social media posts this week, usually frozen in that split second after the knockout. But they didn't show the decades of education behind her eyes, the years of helping patients recover their strength, the lifetime of navigating spaces where she had to be twice as good to be considered half as worthy. Maya ran her fingers over her knuckles again, feeling the familiar territory of bones and tendons she'd studied for years. The human body was her expertise, its strengths, its weaknesses, its capacity for both injury and healing. Derek might understand fighting, but she understood the deeper mechanics of power. The sink dripped steadily as she stared at her reflection, each drop marking another second of decision. Behind her, through the open bathroom door, she could see her degrees on the wall, her family photos, the life she'd built piece by careful piece. Everything she had to lose, and everything worth fighting for. Maya pulled into the cracked parking lot of Miles Boxing Center just after sunrise. The building looked exactly as she remembered it. Red brick worn smooth by time, windows clouded with decades of sweat and determination. A faded sign above the door still proclaimed, "Champions made here," in peeling gold letters. Inside, the familiar smell of leather and liniment wrapped around her like an old friend. Heavy bags swayed gently in the morning light, their chains creaking a quiet rhythm. Along the walls, yellowed newspaper clippings and fight posters told stories of victories long past. Coach Leon Miles stood by the ring, wrapping the hands of a young fighter. At 72, he moved with the deliberate grace of someone who'd spent a lifetime in the sweet science. His dark skin was creased with wisdom, and his eyes still held that sharp gleam that had guided countless fighters to victory. "Dr. Caldwell," he called out, finishing the rap with practiced efficiency. "Been watching that video of yours." Clean slip on that last exchange. Maya approached the ring, her footsteps echoing in the near-empty gym. "You saw it?" "Saw all three versions." Leon dismissed his fighter with a gentle pat on the shoulder. "The edited one they're passing around. The longer clip showing him forcing those gloves on you. And the security camera angle from the corner." He shook his head. "He didn't expect you to know how to move." "I didn't expect it either," Maya admitted, leaning against the ring post. "It just happened. Nothing just happens in fighting." Leon pulled up 2 folding chairs, gesturing for her to sit. "Those were trained responses. Your body remembered something." Maya settled into the chair, its metal frame cool against her back. "I used to train. Years ago. Mostly for fitness, some amateur boxing. But this is different. They're trying to destroy everything I've built." She told him everything. The mockery in Derek's voice, the edited video, the flood of online hate, the legal threats piled on her desk, and the whisper campaign threatening her license. Her voice remained steady, but her fingers twisted together in her lap. Leon listened without interruption, his expression growing darker with each detail. When she finished, he stood up and walked to a dusty cabinet in the corner. He returned with hand wraps and a pair of worn leather gloves. "Stand up," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "Show me your stance." Maya rose, muscle memory shifting her weight automatically. Left foot forward, right foot back, shoulders squared, but relaxed. "Good foundation," Leon noted, circling her slowly. "Now show me how you threw that last straight right." She demonstrated the punch in slow motion, her fist traveling the familiar path through the air. Leon caught her arm mid-extension, adjusting the angle slightly. "You've got natural power, but you're leaving yourself open here." His weathered hands guided her elbow down a fraction. "Against someone bigger, that gap could cost you." "I'm not looking for another fight," Maya started, but Leon cut her off. "They've already brought the fight to you," he said firmly. "Question is, are you going to let them pick the battlefield?" He moved to stand in front of her, his presence commanding despite his age. "I've watched too many fighters get chewed up by this game. Good people broken by bad men with money and connections. But you?" He smiled for the first time that morning. "You've got something they don't expect." "What's that?" "Righteousness. And proper technique, once we polish it up." He picked up the hand wraps. "If they want to make this about fighting, we make it about discipline, about truth. Every move clean, every response measured." Maya watched as he demonstrated the proper wrapping technique, the white cotton weaving between her fingers with precise loops. "They have money, lawyers, influence, and we have science," Leon countered. "You're a doctor. You understand body mechanics better than most fighters ever will. We'll use that." He secured the wrap with a final pass. "But first, you need to decide. Are you ready to train properly? Not for violence. For control." Maya flexed her wrapped hand, feeling the familiar support around her knuckles. This wrap felt different from Derek's hasty job. Secure, professional, honest. 3 days a week, minimum, Leon continued, before your clinic opens. We'll work technique, conditioning, strategy. No shortcuts. The morning sun had climbed higher, streaming through the dusty windows and catching the motes in the air. Around them, the gym was coming alive as early morning regulars filtered in, their greetings to Coach Leon respectful and warm. "Show me how to wrap my own hands," Maya said finally, unwinding the wrap Leon had demonstrated. "I need to learn everything properly this time." Leon nodded, satisfaction flickering across his features. He guided her through the process, step by step, around the wrist, between each finger, across the knuckles. His instructions were clear and patient, each loop serving a specific purpose. "Protect the weapons," he explained as she worked. "But remember, the wraps aren't just for punching. They're for stability, for control. Everything we do here will be about control." Maya finished the wrap on her right hand, pulling it snug. The cotton felt like armor now, not just padding. A shield and a statement all at once. "This time," she said, examining her work, "it won't be an accident." The morning air held a sharp chill as Maya pushed through the heavy doors of Miles Boxing Center. It was 5:30 a.m., still dark outside, but Leon was already there, setting up training stations with methodical precision. "Start with the rope," he called out as she dropped her gym bag. 8 minutes. Focus on that bounce. Light feet. Strong base." Maya nodded, grabbing the jump rope from its hook. The rhythmic slap of rope against wood floor filled the empty gym as she warmed up. Her muscles remembered more each day, but Leon accepted no shortcuts. "Wider stance," he corrected, watching her footwork. "You're bouncing too narrow. Base saves dignity. I want those feet shoulder width plus 2 inches. She adjusted, feeling the difference immediately. The wider base made her more stable, less likely to be pushed off balance. Every detail mattered. After the rope, Leon positioned her in front of the mirror. "Show me your guard position." Maya brought her hands up, elbows tucked, chin down. Leon shook his head, stepping in to make adjustments. "Left hand higher. Protect that temple. Right hand, palm faces your cheek. When you throw, everything moves from the ground up." He demonstrated the proper rotation, his own movement fluid despite his age. "Power starts in the feet, travels through the hips, finishes in the fist. But only if your base is solid." They drilled the basics for an hour. Hip rotation for hooks. Proper teep kicks to maintain distance against bigger opponents. Maya's shin connected with the heavy bag again and again as Leon critiqued her form. "Push through the hip more," he instructed. "That teep is your first line of defense. Make them respect your space." Ariel arrived at 7 a.m., camera in hand. She sat up quietly in the corner, documenting Maya's training. Each session was carefully filmed, evidence of proper technique, of controlled power, of disciplined preparation. A direct counter to Derek's narrative of a dangerous, unstable woman. "Good." Leon nodded as Maya executed a perfect 3-punch combination. "Now, show me the footwork pattern again. Circle left, pivot, exit angle." Maya moved through the sequence, feet tracing careful paths on the floor. Leon had marked the proper angles with tape, ensuring every step landed precisely where it should. "Better," he said. "Remember, against bigger opponents, you never stay still. Move, angle, create space. Let them waste energy chasing." The morning light grew stronger as they worked. Maya's shirt was soaked with sweat, but her movements remained sharp. Leon had her practicing entries and exits now, shooting in with quick combinations before sliding safely out of range. "Keep those hands up on the exit," he reminded her. "Most counters come when you're pulling back. Stay protected." Ariel's camera tracked it all, capturing the methodical build of proper technique. The footage would show Maya's commitment to control, to discipline, a stark contrast to the chaos Derek claimed she represented. At 8:30, Maya wrapped up the session, her muscles humming with familiar fatigue. She had just finished unwrapping her hands when the gym's back door creaked open. Tasha Rios slipped in, looking over her shoulder nervously. Her usual confidence was gone, replaced by obvious tension. Maya recognized the weight of secrets in her posture. "Can we talk?" Tasha asked quietly, glancing between Maya and Leon. "Somewhere private?" Leon nodded toward his office. The small room was cluttered with decades of boxing memorabilia, but it offered privacy. Maya followed Tasha inside, closing the door behind them. "Derek's planning something," Tasha said without preamble, her voice barely above a whisper. "He wants me to challenge you publicly. Make a big show of calling you out. Say you're a danger to the community." She ran a hand through her hair, frustration evident. "If I don't do it, he'll terminate my contract. I can't afford that right now." Maya studied the younger fighter's face, seeing the conflict there. "How long have you been training with him?" 5 years. "He took me in when no one else would." Tasha's loyalty warred with her conscience. "But lately, the things he's asking us to do, it's not right." "You don't have to be part of this," Maya said gently. "There are other gyms, other trainers. My whole career is tied to his gym, the sponsors, the connections." Tasha shook her head. "I don't know what to do." Maya glanced out the office window, where Leon was calmly wrapping another fighter's hands. An idea formed. "Train with us," she offered. "Early morning, after hours, whenever you can slip away. Learn proper technique. Build your foundation right. When the time comes to make a choice, you'll be ready." Tasha looked uncertain. "Derek would lose it if he found out." "Then we make sure he doesn't," Maya said simply. "Leon's been training fighters longer than Derek's been alive. He knows how to keep things quiet." The tension in Tasha's shoulders eased slightly. She looked around the old gym, taking in its honest wear, its lack of pretense. "Tomorrow morning?" she asked. "Before Derek's gym opens?" Maya nodded. 5:30 a.m. We'll start with the basics: stance, movement, control. Everything built on a proper foundation." The fluorescent lights hummed in the empty gym as Sam Otieno moved methodically between the workout stations, wiping down equipment. It was nearly midnight. His cleaning cart squeaked along the rubber floor mats as he worked, the sound echoing in the vast space. The back door clicked softly. Sam tensed until he recognized Ariel's familiar silhouette. She moved quietly through the shadows, camera bag slung over her shoulder. "Thank you for meeting so late," Sam whispered, glancing nervously at the security cameras mounted in the corners. He reached into his pocket with trembling hands, pulling out 3 small flash drives. "The security system records everything," he explained, voice low and accented. "I make copies every night before Derek can delete anything, just in case." He hesitated. "There's something you need to see." Ariel pulled out her laptop, setting it on a nearby bench. Sam inserted the first drive, fingers still shaking slightly. He navigated through folders of time-stamped footage until he found what he was looking for. "Here," he said, pointing to the screen. "From that Saturday morning." The footage was clear despite the gym's harsh lighting. It showed Derek approaching Maya before their confrontation, grabbing her wrist when no one was watching. His lips moved near her ear, no audio, but his aggressive posture was unmistakable. Maya's face remained composed, but her body language showed clear discomfort. "He does this often," Sam said quietly. "Intimidates people when he thinks no one's watching. But I see everything from where I clean." Ariel leaned closer to the screen, studying the interaction. This proves it wasn't a friendly challenge. He physically intimidated her before forcing the demonstration. She pulled out her phone, making quick notes. "Do you have footage from other incidents?" Sam nodded, switching to another drive. "Many times. With other fighters, too. Especially the women. He makes them spar injured. Threatens their contracts if they refuse." His voice carried years of witnessed abuse. I wanted to say something before, but he gestured to himself. Who would believe the janitor? I believe you, Ariel said firmly. And we'll make sure others do too. She began copying the files, her fingers flying over the keyboard. This footage, combined with the full fight video, will show exactly what happened. They worked in silence for several minutes, the only sound the quiet whir of the laptop fan. Sam continued his cleaning routine to maintain appearances, but his eyes constantly darted to the doors. Later that night, in Ariel's small home office, she pieced together the new video. The security footage provided crucial context, showing Derek's intimidation tactics. She included clear shots of him grabbing Maya, his aggressive stance, the way he used his size to tower over her. The audio from bystander videos captured his taunting, the forced nature of the challenge. Maya arrived around 1 a.m., looking tired after a long day at her clinic. She watched the edited footage in silence, arms crossed. It's all there, Ariel said. The grabbing, the threats, the light touch promise he broke. We can release this tomorrow morning. Show everyone what really happened. Maya studied the screen, her expression thoughtful. Not yet, she said finally. Let him make the next move. He's already spreading lies about me being violent. If we release this now, he'll just claim it's manipulated. But people need to see the truth, Ariel protested. Your reputation will hold, Maya interrupted gently. I've survived worse than online reviews. Right now, we need to protect Sam. Derek will know exactly where this footage came from. Ariel nodded slowly. You're right. We need a safer approach. She turned back to her computer, fingers hovering over the keyboard. What if we just hint at what we have? A teaser that makes people question Derek's version. She quickly edited a short clip, just a few seconds of security footage showing Derek's intimidating stance, but with his face obscured. Added text that read, What really happened that morning? Full story coming soon. This puts pressure on him without exposing Sam, she explained. Makes people wonder what else Derek's hiding. Maya considered it. And Sam? I have friends who help whistleblowers, Ariel assured her. They can protect him, maybe even help with his immigration status. He won't face this alone. They called Sam, who had finished his shift. He agreed to meet with Ariel's contacts the next day. His voice carried relief. Finally, someone was listening. Ariel uploaded the teaser clip just before 2 a.m. Within hours, it started circulating. Comments flooded in. Wait, there's more to the story? I knew that first video looked edited. Derek better explain this. The internet buzzed with theories. People began re-examining the original viral clip, noticing the obvious cuts, questioning the narrative. Derek's carefully constructed story showed its first cracks. Maya drove home as dawn approached, exhausted but resolute. Her phone kept lighting up with notifications, but she ignored them. Let people talk. Let Derek worry. The truth would emerge in its own time. In her rearview mirror, she caught a glimpse of Sam's small figure entering his apartment building. He walked straighter now, like a man who had finally set down a heavy burden. Sometimes, she thought, victory came not in loud moments of triumph, but in quiet acts of courage. A janitor speaking truth, a fighter choosing patience, a community slowly awakening to justice. Derek's phone buzzed constantly with notifications about Ariel's teaser video. His face reddened as he paced his office, barking orders into his cell phone. I don't care how you do it. Find something we can use against her. The next morning, local news websites blazed with a headline. Former patient reveals Dr. Caldwell's violent history. The story featured scanned medical records showing Maya had supposedly injured a teenage athlete during physical therapy 5 years ago. Comments piled up quickly, calling for her license to be revoked. Maya's phone rang. It was her lawyer. These records are clearly doctored, he said. The letterhead format is wrong for that year. and the patient number doesn't match our system. Can we prove it? Maya asked, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. We're working on it. But there's more. Officer Brannigan filed an updated police report about the gym incident. Claims you have a history of aggressive behavior. Across town, Ariel sat in her cramped apartment, surrounded by scattered papers. She'd obtained copies of the police reports through her contacts. Something caught her eye. The handwriting on the updated sections matched perfectly with older entries, but the ink was slightly different. She pulled out her phone and snapped photos. Look at the time stamps, she muttered, comparing documents. The original report showed 6:45 p.m. on the incident date. The new editions claimed to be from the same time, but the ink was fresher, the pressure points of the pen strokes heavier. Got you, Officer Rick. At Leon's gym, Maya worked through her frustration on the heavy bag. Sweat dripped from her forehead as she threw combinations, jab, cross, hook, her form tightening with each repetition. Leon watched carefully, calling out adjustments. Head movement after you punch, he reminded her. They'll try to counter. He waved over Jesse, a younger fighter from the amateur circuit. Time to spar. Maya nodded, rolling her shoulders as they touched gloves. Jesse was fast, throwing quick combinations. Maya stayed defensive at first, reading her opponent's rhythm. A jab came in. Maya slipped left, countered with a body shot. Jesse winced. Good, Leon called. Now find your timing. They continued for 3 rounds. Maya's experience showed in her efficiency, every movement purposeful. When Jesse threw a wild hook, Maya ducked under and landed a clean uppercut. Not hard, but precise. See how she set that up? Leon asked the other fighters watching. Patience first, then action. Meanwhile, Ariel met with a forensics expert who specialized in document analysis. They pored over the police reports under specialized lighting. The original entries use a standard department-issued pen, the expert explained, pointing to subtle differences. These newer additions? Different ink compound, trying to match the color, but not quite right. And look at the pressure patterns. Same hand wrote both, trying to vary the style, but the baseline strokes are identical. Ariel recorded everything, building her case methodically. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sam. More security footage from last week. Derek threatening Tasha about the story. When can you meet? Back at the gym, Maya finished her 4th sparring round of the evening. Her muscles burned, but her movement remained sharp. She slipped another jab from her opponent, landed a clean 1-2 combination, then pivoted safely away. Time, Leon called. He helped Maya remove her gloves, studying her form. Your counter timing is improving. How's the cardio feeling? Maya took a long drink of water. Better than last week. Those sprints you added are helping. She rotated her shoulders, working out the tension. The body shots are landing cleaner, too. Leon nodded approvingly. You're not just throwing, you're placing them. That's the difference. He glanced at the clock. Almost midnight. The gym was empty except for their small group. One more round? Maya smiled, already rewrapping her hands. Always. One more round. They worked late into the night, fine-tuning combinations, drilling defense. Each movement built muscle memory. Each repetition added layers of confidence. When Maya finally landed a perfect 3-piece combination, slip, body shot, hook, even Leon cracked a smile. I'm getting faster, she said, catching her breath. Leon nodded slowly, watching her form in the mirror. You're getting ready. The gym fell quiet, except for the rhythmic sound of Maya's footwork as she shadow-boxed, cooling down. Each step carried purpose now. Each movement showed the hours of training paying off. The worried whispers about medical records and police reports seemed distant here, where truth lived in action rather than words. Her phone lit up with another call. Probably more news about the allegations. Maya let it go to voicemail. Tomorrow would bring its own battles. Tonight was for training, for preparation, for the steady work of getting stronger. She threw one last combination at her shadow, each punch sharp and clean. The security lights cast long shadows across the empty gym. Maya's reflection showed a fighter's stance now. Balanced, prepared, patient. The smear campaign might rage outside, but in here, she was building something they couldn't touch. Something that would answer all their lies without saying a word. Derek sat at his desk, recording a video on his phone. His bruises had faded, but his ego hadn't recovered. "Social media family, big announcement," he said, flashing his trademark grin. "Brannigan Combat Systems is hosting a charity exhibition match. Our very own Tasha Rios will face Dr. Maya Caldwell. Yes, that Maya Caldwell." He leaned closer to the camera. "Simple stakes. When Tasha wins, Dr. Caldwell makes a public apology for her actions. If by some miracle the doctor wins, I'll drop my lawsuit. Fair is fair, right?" The video went viral within hours. Comments exploded. "Finally, show that crazy lady what real fighting looks like. Tasha's gonna destroy her. This has to be a joke?" Maya was treating a patient when her phone started buzzing non-stop. She checked it during her lunch break and saw Derek's challenge plastered across every local fighting forum. Ariel called immediately. "Maya, don't respond yet. This is clearly a trap." "Put me on camera," Maya said firmly. "Right now." 20 minutes later, Maya sat in her office as Ariel set up her filming equipment. The walls behind her displayed her medical degrees and physical therapy certifications, a stark contrast to Derek's testosterone-filled backdrop. Going live in 3, 2, 1. Maya looked directly into the camera. "Mr. Brannigan, I accept your challenge." Her voice was steady, professional. "But let's be clear. This isn't about charity. This is about truth. I'll face Ms. Rios under proper sanctioning, with licensed officials." Derek hadn't expected such a quick acceptance. He fired back with another video. "Done. 2 weeks from Saturday. Hope you're ready, Doc." At Leon's gym that evening, the old coach shook his head. "It's a setup, Maya. Tasha's younger, trains full-time. She's got real power." Maya wrapped her hands methodically. "I know, but backing down now would prove everything they're saying about me. Then we train smart." Leon grabbed the focus mitts. "Tasha's aggressive early. She'll try to overwhelm you. We work on defensive footwork, counters. Make her miss, make her pay." They drilled for hours. Maya's shirt was soaked with sweat as she slipped punches and fired back. Leon called out combinations. 2 to the head, 1 to the body. Move after you punch. Don't stay in the pocket. Meanwhile, Ariel worked her contacts in the local fighting commission. "We need a neutral referee," she insisted. "Someone with no connection to Brannigan's gym." She found retired referee Mike Davidson, known for his strict adherence to rules. "I'll do it," he said. "But everything goes by the book. No exceptions." The news spread quickly through the fighting community. Betting odds appeared online, heavily favoring Tasha. Local sports shows debated the matchup. "This is ridiculous. She's putting herself at risk. No way the Athletic Commission sanctions this. It's a circus, plain and simple." But the paperwork went through. Medical checks were scheduled. The venue, a mid-sized local arena, was booked. At Brannigan's gym, Derek watched Tasha blast the heavy bag. "First round," he instructed. "Push her back, don't let her breathe. Break her confidence early." His voice dropped lower. "Make it hurt." Tasha nodded, but something flickered in her eyes. She'd seen the unedited footage of Maya's knockout. She knew the truth about that day. Maya's training intensified. Leon brought in sparring partners of different sizes and styles. She learned to control distance with her jab, to pivot away from power shots, to clinch when pressed. Her cardio improved daily, running at dawn, swimming at night, always pushing. Your advantage is technique, Leon explained. Tasha loads up, telegraphs her shots. You stay disciplined, pick your counters. One evening, after a particularly grueling session, Maya sat in her home office icing her knees. Her body ached, but her mind was sharp. The mirror on her wall reflected a different person than 2 months ago. Leaner, more focused, carrying herself with a fighter's awareness. She remembered Derek's smirk that first day, his dismissive auntie comments. The memory no longer stung. It fueled her. She visualized the upcoming fight, Tasha charging forward, throwing heavy shots. Maya saw herself slipping, countering, maintaining composure. She imagined Derek's smug expression crumbling as his plan backfired. The ice pack numbed her knee, but her resolve grew stronger. This wasn't just about one fight or one bully. It was about standing up, about showing that technique and dignity could overcome brute force and intimidation. Her phone buzzed. Another message from Ariel. The press conference was scheduled for tomorrow. More mind games would come. Maya took a deep breath, removed the ice pack, and stood up. She had more training to do. In the morning, she would face cameras and questions. Tonight was for visualization, for mental preparation, for remembering why she accepted this challenge. Every punch she'd thrown, every defensive drill she'd practiced, every sprint she'd pushed through, it all led to this moment. She touched her reflection in the mirror, noting the definition in her shoulders, the steel in her eyes. Derek thought he was setting a trap, but Maya knew better. Sometimes the best way to fight fire wasn't with fire. It was with technique, timing, and unwavering determination. The way in-venue buzzed with tension. Local media packed the small hotel conference room, cameras flashing as Maya stepped onto the scale. She wore black track pants and a fitted athletic top, her posture straight and professional. The digital display settled. 145 pounds, exactly on weight. Tasha approached next, her usual confidence muted. She avoided Derek's gaze as she stripped down to her sports bra and shorts. The scale read 146, also within limit. When their eyes met during the face-off photos, Maya saw something familiar in Tasha's expression, the look of someone trapped in Derek's web. "Touch gloves, ladies," the commissioner instructed. They did, maintaining eye contact a moment longer than necessary. Derek shouldered between them, his massive frame casting a shadow. "Remember what we discussed," he hissed in Tasha's ear, loud enough for Maya to hear. "Break her down early. No mercy." Maya watched Tasha's shoulders tense at his words. The young fighter's hands trembled slightly as she pulled them back. This wasn't the fierce competitor from her highlight reels. This was someone fighting under duress. Reporters shouted questions. "Dr. Caldwell, are you concerned about the age difference?" "Tasha, how do you respond to claims this is exploitation?" "Mr. Brannigan, what about the controversy over the original incident?" Derek grabbed the microphone, drowning out any chance for Maya or Tasha to speak. "Saturday night, you'll see what happens when a real fighter faces someone who got lucky once. That's all we're saying today." As the crowd dispersed, Maya noticed Sam watching from the back of the room. The janitor gave her a subtle nod before slipping out. He'd been gathering evidence of Derek's misconduct for weeks, working with Ariel to build their case. But at 11 p.m., Maya's phone rang. It was Sam's wife, panic in her voice. "They arrested him. Police said his tail light was broken, but it wasn't. Officer Brannigan threatened to call immigration." The woman was crying. "Sam told me to call you if anything happened." Maya's stomach knotted. Rick was making his move, silencing their key witness. She called Ariel immediately, but got her voicemail. Checking Twitter, she found out why. Ariel's entire channel had been suspended for community guidelines violations. All their evidence temporarily vanished. The next morning's headlines twisted the knife. Controversial fighter faces sanctions after harassment claims. Local doctor's violent history raises questions. Brannigan Gym stands firm against aggression. Maya sat in Leon's office, surrounded by old fight posters and the musty smell of hand wraps. The evening light cast long shadows through the windows. Neither had spoken for several minutes. "They're not just stacking the deck," Leon finally said, his gravelly voice soft. "They're burning the whole house down." Maya traced her fingers over the wrapped knuckles of her right hand. Sam's wife called again. "They're holding him overnight, claiming system delays." "Rick's fingerprints are all over this," Leon growled. "But we can't prove it yet. Ariel's appeal could take days." "The fight's tomorrow." Maya's voice remained steady, but her hands clenched. "All our evidence just gone." Leon stood up, his joints creaking as he walked to an old cabinet. He pulled out a small card and a roll of white medical tape. "When I fought in '82, he said, had a guy try to grease his gloves. Referee was paid off. Corner was dirty. Everything illegal." He handed Maya the card. In faded ink, it read, "Win clean." "My old coach taped this inside my glove," Leon continued. "Said if I fought their way, they'd already won, even if I got the victory." Maya studied the worn card. "They'll have every advantage tomorrow." "Maybe." Leon took the tape and carefully secured the card inside Maya's glove. "But they can't make you fight dirty. That choice is yours." Through the gym's windows they could hear traffic and distant sirens. The city moved on, unaware of the small dramas playing out in its shadows. Maya flexed her wrapped hand, feeling the card's edge against her palm. "They're expecting me to crack," she said quietly, "to get angry, to fight reckless." Leon nodded. "Anger's easier than discipline. Rage is simpler than technique." "Then I'll play cleaner," Maya answered softly, her voice carrying absolute conviction. "Every round, every exchange." They sat together in the growing darkness, no more words needed. Tomorrow would come with its own challenges. But tonight, in this quiet moment, Maya found her center. Let them stack the deck. Let them play their games. She had something they couldn't take, the choice to win with dignity. Dawn crept through Maya's bedroom window, painting shadows across her meditation mat. She sat cross-legged, eyes closed, breath steady. The same position she'd maintained for 30 years of morning practice. Today felt different, heavier, yet somehow clearer. Her phone buzzed once, a text from Leon. "Ready when you are, Doc." The drive to the gym was quiet, streets empty except for early delivery trucks and street cleaners. Maya watched the city wake up, wondering how many of these people would be in the crowd tonight. How many would expect blood? How many would understand what she was really fighting for? Leon was waiting outside his gym, thermos in hand. "Coffee's hot," he said, holding the door. "Let's wrap those hands right." Inside, the familiar smell of leather and sweat greeted them. Maya set her bag down at the corner station, the same spot where she'd trained for the past weeks. Leon pulled up his wooden stool, laying out the hand wraps with methodical precision. "First, the wrist," he said, though Maya knew the routine by heart now. She extended her left hand, watching as he began the careful process. 2 times around, not too tight. Between each finger, Maya continued, feeling the soft cotton weave between her knuckles. "Protect the weapon," they said together, a mantra from countless morning sessions. As Leon worked, Maya noticed his hands, steady despite his age, each movement deliberate. He'd wrapped thousands of hands over his career, but he gave these wraps the same attention as if they were his first. "I remember my first real fight," Leon said, securing the thumb. Was so nervous, I threw up breakfast. Coach told me something I never forgot. Fear ain't the enemy. Fear keeps you sharp. Anger makes you sloppy. Maya nodded, flexing her fingers as he finished the left hand. I'm not angry anymore, she said. Just ready. That's what they're afraid of. Leon smiled, starting on her right hand. An opponent who's clear-headed. From her bag, Maya pulled out the card from yesterday. Win clean in Leon's faded handwriting. As he finished the wrap, she placed it carefully against her palm. Leon taped it securely in place. Some fighters, he said, smoothing the final layer. They think winning dirty is easier. But carrying that shame, that weighs more than any loss. Across town, Tasha sat in her apartment, staring at her phone. She'd been up since 4 a.m., reading old messages from Derek. Threats wrapped in motivation, manipulation disguised as coaching. Her thumbs hovered over Ariel's contact information. Finally, she typed, Derek wants me to target her knee. Says he knows it's weak from college track. I can't do this anymore. Ariel's response came quickly. Then don't, Tasha. He'll destroy my career. Ariel, we have evidence. After tonight, he won't destroy anyone else. Tasha closed her eyes, remembering all the times she'd followed Derek's special instructions, the dirty tactics, the unnecessary roughness. Each victory had felt hollow, each praise tainted. I'm scared, she texted. Be brave for one night, Ariel replied. Fight your fight, not his. The arena staff began their preparations by mid-afternoon. Maya arrived early, walking the perimeter of the cage while it was still quiet. The canvas felt firm under her feet as she traced the path she'd drilled hundreds of times with Leon. In the locker room, she changed into her simple black shorts and fitted rash guard. No sponsors, no flashy logos, just her name in white letters across the back. Leon helped her with her gloves, checking each seam, testing each tie. Feel the card? He asked. Maya made a fist. Right where it needs to be. The arena filled slowly at first, then in waves. The air grew thick with anticipation and smartphone lights. Maya could hear the crowd through the corridor walls, their energy building like an approaching storm. From her warm-up area, she glimpsed Tasha across the arena. Derek loomed behind his fighter, his massive frame casting a shadow as he leaned down, whispering in her ear. Even from this distance, Maya could see the tension in Tasha's shoulders, the slight shake of her head. He's scared, Leon said, following Maya's gaze. Men like that. They get desperate when they're scared. The countdown began. Staff members started ushering both teams toward the cage. Maya stood, rolling her shoulders, feeling the perfect wrap of her hands, the card pressed against her palm like a secret weapon. Leon faced her, his weathered hands gripping her shoulders. His eyes held decades of fights, victories, and losses. But mostly, they held truth. Remember, he said quietly, as the first notes of entrance music began to play. Whatever happens in there, keep your soul intact. Maya nodded, her mind clear, her purpose set. The arena lights rose to full brightness, casting long shadows through the cage fence. The crowd's murmur grew to a roar. In minutes, she would step into that cage, under those lights, carrying more than just her own fight. She felt the card against her palm one last time before slipping in her mouthguard. Some battles were fought with fists. Others were fought with principles. Tonight, she would fight with both. The bell's sharp ring cut through the arena noise. Maya and Tasha moved to center cage, touched gloves with quick respect, then settled into their stances. Maya kept her guard high and tight, just as Leon had drilled into her muscles over countless morning sessions. Tasha circled left, testing distance with quick jabs that snapped through the air. Maya blocked the first two cleanly, letting her forearms absorb the impact. She didn't rush, didn't chase. Each step was measured, each movement efficient. The crowd grew restless, wanting action, but Maya stuck to the plan. When Tasha threw another probing jab, Maya slipped it and answered with a sharp inside leg kick. The slap of shin on calf echoed through the cage. "Stay patient," Leon called from her corner. "Read the rhythm." Tasha kept working her jab, trying to set up bigger shots. Maya checked them methodically, her defense tight and technical. Another leg kick landed, then another. Small victories, adding up slowly. From Tasha's corner, Derek's voice boomed. "She's old! Push the pace!" But Maya had found her timing now. When Tasha stepped in with a 1-2 combination, Maya blocked high and countered with a clean calf kick that made Tasha switch stances briefly. The younger fighter's frustration started showing in her shoulders, in the way she loaded up her punches. "Easy money," Derek shouted. "Walk her down." The first round continued its careful dance. Maya moved like water, never where Tasha expected, always just out of range. When they clinched briefly, Maya controlled the position and broke clean before Tasha could use her strength advantage. The bell rang. Round 1 ended with Maya completely unmarked, while Tasha's lead leg showed early damage. In Maya's corner, Leon dabbed her face with a towel she didn't really need. "Perfect," he whispered. "She's getting frustrated." "Stay smart." Round 2 started with new energy. Tasha burst forward behind a teep kick that Maya barely dodged. The crowd roared, sensing action. Tasha followed with an overhand right that whooshed over Maya's head as she ducked and weaved. "There's your opening," Leon called. Maya saw it too. As Tasha reset, Maya stepped in with 2 quick hooks to the body. The impacts were clear and clean. Tasha backed up a step, respect showing in her posture. But Derek wouldn't let his fighter retreat. "Smother her! Don't give her space!" Tasha charged forward, throwing combinations. Maya stayed calm, using angles Leon had helped her perfect. She slipped inside Tasha's wider punches, landing short shots to the body before moving out of danger. The crowd's mood began to shift. What started as bloodthirsty anticipation turned to appreciation. They watched Maya pivot smoothly away from a wild hook, then plant her feet, and deliver a perfect cross-hook combination that snapped Tasha's head back. "Beautiful!" someone shouted from the stands. Maya kept her focus narrow, just as she had in training. When Tasha tried to bully forward with power shots, Maya used her footwork to create space, then answered with precise counters. Each exchange showed the difference between aggression and technique. "She's making you look stupid!" Derek screamed at Tasha. "Get in there!" But even as Tasha pressed forward, Maya's experience showed. She caught Tasha coming in with a clean check hook that drew gasps from the crowd. Tasha's nose started bleeding lightly. The arena's energy transformed. What began as a spectacle, the older woman being fed to a young lion, had become a masterclass. Maya's movements were efficient, almost elegant. She was fighting smart, not just tough. "Look at her go!" someone yelled, and others joined in, appreciation drowning out the bloodlust. Near the round's end, Tasha launched another blitz. Maya calmly blocked, slipped, and countered with a combination that Leon had refined over countless rounds. Jab, cross, hook to the body, circle out. Perfect execution. The bell rang again. Maya returned to her corner, still breathing steadily. In the opposite corner, Derek berated Tasha, his face red with fury. But Maya noticed something else. Tasha's eyes kept finding hers, carrying what looked like recognition, maybe even respect. Leon wiped Maya's face, checked her hands. "You're showing them," he said quietly. "You're showing them all." The crowd buzzed with revised expectations. Phones recorded every moment. Commentary rippled through the stands. "She's legit. Did you see that footwork? The old school is schooling." Maya took slow, measured breaths. The card in her glove pressed against her palm, reminding her, win clean. So far, she was doing exactly that. Not with brutality or flash, but with technique and timing. The very skills Derek had mocked were now dismantling his star pupil. Through the cage fence, Maya caught glimpses of familiar faces. Ariel filming everything. Sam watching nervously from a back corner. Her grandnephew Jamal beaming with pride. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. This was about something bigger. The 1-minute warning sounded. Leon gave her water, checked her gloves one last time. Stay on the path, he said. You're teaching more than fighting in there. Maya nodded, rolling her shoulders, ready for round 3. The crowd's energy had shifted from hunger for violence to appreciation of craft. She had done that, not with power or aggression, but with skill and composure. Now it was time to continue the lesson. The 1-minute rest period ended too quickly. Maya stood, rolling her shoulders as the 3rd round began. Tasha came out aggressive, closing distance fast. They clinched against the cage, and that's when Maya felt it. Tasha's gloves had an unnatural hardness. The wraps underneath weren't regulation. Maya kept her guard tight, protecting her face. In close quarters, she worked short, precise knees to Tasha's body, targeting the solar plexus. Each impact made Tasha grunt, but those illegal wraps were a constant threat. "Get rough!" Derek shouted from the corner. "Make her quit." Instead of panicking, Maya applied what Leon had taught her about clinch work. She pummeled for inside position, controlling Tasha's arms, denying her the space to throw those dangerously wrapped hands. When they separated, Maya did it technically, stepping back at angles rather than straight away. Sweat poured down both fighters' faces. In another clinch, Tasha whispered, "I'm sorry." Maya gave a slight nod, understanding the younger fighter was trapped in Derek's web of control. The 3rd round continued its grinding pace. Maya absorbed a few shots but kept working her game plan. Body shots, quick knees, constant movement. The crowd started to appreciate the technical battle, cheering when Maya executed perfect clinch breaks or landed clean shots. Between rounds, Leon dabbed the sweat from Maya's face. "You feel those wraps?" he asked quietly. "Yes," Maya breathed. "Hard as rocks." "Stay smart. Make her miss. Make her pay." Round 4 started with Tasha looking increasingly desperate. Derek's voice grew more frantic, more reckless. "Thumb her eye!" he screamed. "Take her out!" The referee turned toward Derek's corner. "That's a warning. One more and you're out." Maya maintained her focus, but Tasha caught her with a perfect combination. Jab, cross, hook that crashed into Maya's guard. The impact rattled her teeth, made her legs wobble briefly. The crowd gasped, sensing a turning point. But Maya had trained for this moment. She planted her feet, remembered her breathing, and fired back. The rear uppercut slipped through Tasha's defense, snapping her head back. Before Tasha could recover, Maya drove a left hook into her liver. The younger fighter's body tensed, and Maya finished with a brutal calf kick that buckled Tasha's lead leg. Tasha stumbled backward into the cage. The arena erupted as Maya stayed patient, picking her shots. A jab-cross combination landed clean. Tasha covered up, clearly hurt. "Fight back!" Derek screamed. "Don't you dare quit!" The 4th round ended with Tasha surviving, but her confidence was shaken. In Maya's corner, Leon kept her focused. "One more round. She's breaking. Stay disciplined." The final round began with tension thick in the air. Maya kept her distance, circling, letting Tasha carry the pressure of having to finish strong. The younger fighter's frustration showed in her increasingly wild attacks. Derek's voice had turned desperate. "Rush her! Take her down!" Tasha lunged forward with a wild combination. Maya saw it coming, just as she had that first day in Derek's gym. She slipped the punches perfectly, pivoted left just as Leon had drilled countless times, and landed a picture-perfect check hook to Tasha's temple. The impact spun Tasha around. She crashed to the canvas, legs folding beneath her. The referee jumped between them immediately, waving his arms. Technical knockout. The arena exploded with cheers. Maya didn't celebrate, didn't showboat. She simply raised her gloves, breathing hard, letting the moment speak for itself. The referee raised her hand as the official winner, and the applause grew even louder. Medical staff rushed to check on Tasha, who was already sitting up. Maya walked over, helped her to her feet. Their eyes met with mutual respect. No words were needed. Leon wrapped Maya in a tight hug. "Perfect execution," he whispered. "You showed them what real fighting looks like." The crowd's reaction was deafening now. They had come expecting a spectacle, but witnessed a clinic instead. Maya had won not through brutality or luck, but with technique, patience, and composure. Her victory represented something larger than just a fight. It was wisdom overcoming bullying, technique defeating crude power. Derek stormed out of the arena, pushing past security. But Maya barely noticed. She was focused on Tasha, making sure the younger fighter was okay. Their shared look carried volumes, both understanding that this fight had changed something fundamental in the gym's power structure. The medical team cleared Tasha, who managed a small smile. "You fought clean," she said quietly to Maya, "even when you knew about the raps." Maya nodded. "That's how you build respect," she replied, "not through fear." The arena continued its celebration, phones recording every moment. But Maya remained calm at the center of the storm. She had done what she came to do, not just win, but win the right way. The card in her glove had reminded her throughout. Win clean. And she had. Chapter 13. Exposing the Machine. The morning after the fight, Maya's phone buzzed constantly. Ariel's YouTube channel was back online, and her latest video was spreading like wildfire. The exposé opened with split-screen footage. Derek's edited version next to the full, unaltered security camera feed from Sam's flash drive. "Today, we're setting the record straight," Ariel's voice declared over the footage. "What you're about to see isn't just about one fight. It's about a system of abuse, corruption, and cover-ups." Maya watched from her clinic office as the video laid out everything methodically. Security footage showed Derek cornering fighters after hours, demanding special training sessions in exchange for keeping their membership rates low. The camera caught him grabbing Maya's wrists that first day, his mouth clearly forming the words "light touch," while his body language screamed intimidation. But it was the police report segment that truly shocked viewers. Ariel's camera zoomed in on document timestamps, showing identical handwriting with different ink colors. Split-screen analysis revealed how Officer Rick Brannigan had systematically altered witness statements, changing times and details to protect his brother. "Some of you might remember Sam Otieno," Ariel continued, as the janitor's face appeared on screen. Sam sat in shadow, but his voice was clear and steady. "Mr. Brannigan would make the cleaning staff spar with his advanced students," Sam explained. "Said it was part of our rent payment. When we got hurt, he threatened to report us to immigration." Social media erupted. The hashtag Brannigan Bullies trended within hours. Local news stations picked up the story, running clips from Ariel's video alongside footage from Maya's victory. Comments sections filled with stories from former gym members, each sharing their own experiences with Derek's manipulation. By midday, Derek's sponsors started issuing statements. Energy drink company Total Rush. "We are suspending our relationship with Brannigan Combat Systems pending investigation." Fighting gear manufacturer Knockout. Our brand stands for respect in martial arts. We are terminating our sponsorship effective immediately. The property management company that owned Derek's gym building released a terse statement. Due to violations of ethical business practices outlined in the lease agreement, we are reviewing our contract with Brannigan Combat Systems. Maya's clinic phone rang. It was Judge Dolores King's clerk. Emergency hearing scheduled for Friday morning. Attendance mandatory. The courtroom was packed that Friday. Maya sat with her lawyer, calm and composed in a charcoal blazer. Derek slouched in his chair, his usual swagger replaced by barely contained rage. Officer Rick sat separately, flanked by internal affairs investigators. Judge King studied the documents before her, her reading glasses perched low on her nose. The silence stretched until she looked up, fixing Derek with a stern gaze. "Mr. Brannigan," she began, her voice carrying clear authority. "This court has reviewed extensive evidence of systematic harassment, coercion, and fraudulent business practices. Your civil suit against Dr. Caldwell is not only without merit, it appears to be part of a pattern of intimidation." Derek's lawyer tried to interject, but Judge King held up her hand. "I'm not finished. This case is dismissed with prejudice. Furthermore, I am referring Officer Richard Brannigan to Internal Affairs for investigation of document tampering and abuse of authority." Rick's face went pale. Two investigators shifted closer to him. "Additionally," Judge King continued, "I am forwarding evidence of coerced fighting and immigration threats to the District Attorney's Office for review. Mr. Brannigan, your behavior suggests you view the law as optional." "This court disagrees," the gallery murmured. Maya remained still, her expression neutral. Derek's face had turned an ugly shade of red. Tasha stood up from her seat in the gallery. "Your Honor, I'd like to make a statement." Judge King nodded. Tasha walked to the podium, her steps steady. She spoke clearly about Derek's training methods, the forced sparring, the illegal hand wraps, the threats to ruin careers if fighters didn't comply. "He told us it was about toughness," Tasha explained, "but it was about control. Dr. Caldwell showed us there's a difference between being strong and being cruel." Derek exploded from his chair. "You ungrateful." "Bailiff!" Judge King's gavel crashed down. "Remove Mr. Brannigan from my courtroom." As Derek was escorted out, still shouting, Maya caught Tasha's eye. They shared a quiet moment of understanding. After the hearing concluded, they met in the courthouse hallway. "Thank you for speaking up," Maya said softly. Tasha squared her shoulders. "You fought clean, even when you knew about the raps. I had to do the same thing. Fight clean. Tell the truth. You showed me how," she added, genuine respect in her voice. Maya touched her arm gently. "No, you always knew how. You just needed space to remember." Outside, reporters clustered with cameras and microphones, but Maya and Tasha slipped out through a side door. The morning sun felt warm on their faces, a new day breaking over the city. The truth was finally out, carried on countless shares and retweets, impossible to edit or silence. Maya's phone buzzed, a text from Leon. "Gym's open. Time to train." Some things wouldn't change. And that was exactly as it should be. A month after the courthouse showdown, morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows of Miles Boxing Center. The old gym had been transformed. Gone were the faded posters of glory days past, replaced by fresh banners promoting boxing and boundaries, where respect meets self-defense. The largest one, hanging prominently over the ring, declared in bold letters, "Respect begins with consent." Maya stood at the center of the mat, her hair touched with silver and pulled back neatly. She wore a crisp black tank top with "Coach" printed across the back. Around her, a diverse group of about 30 people formed a circle. Teenagers like Jamal alongside senior citizens, all in workout gear and hand wraps. "Remember," Maya called out as she demonstrated a basic stance, "power isn't about size or strength. It's about alignment." She shifted her weight, showing how a proper base could generate force. And more importantly, it's about knowing when not to use it. Jamal, now helping as a junior assistant, moved through the group correcting postures. His confidence had grown, no longer the uncertain kid who'd first walked into Brannigan's gym. "Check your front foot position," he advised an elderly woman gently. "There you go. Feel how that stabilizes you?" Sam Otieno worked the front desk, greeting newcomers with genuine warmth. His position at Leon's gym came with fair pay, regular hours, and most importantly, dignity. He'd even started learning the basics himself, joining the morning classes before his maintenance duties began. In one corner, Ariel G set up her camera equipment. But this time, there was no tension in the air, no need to gather evidence. She was documenting something different now: healing, growth, community. Her lens captured small moments: a teenager helping a senior citizen with their gloves, partners practicing defensive moves with careful respect for boundaries, smiles and nods of encouragement crossing generational gaps. Tasha Rios, freed from Derek's toxic influence, had found her true calling. She moved between several training stations, holding focus mitts for participants and breaking down techniques into manageable steps. Her teaching style was patient, emphasizing form over force. "Remember to breathe," she reminded a teenage girl throwing her first jab. "Power follows relaxation. You don't need to muscle it." The girl's next punch cracked sharp and clean against the mitt, drawing a proud smile from both student and coach. Leon watched it all from his usual corner, arms crossed, satisfaction evident in his weathered features. The gym had never felt more alive, more true to its original purpose. This wasn't about creating fighters, it was about building defenders, teaching people to stand tall without becoming bullies themselves. "All right, everyone partner up," Maya called out. "We're practicing the stop and step drill. Remember, one person plays aggressor, stepping forward. The other uses their fence position and verbal boundary setting. Clear communication first, physical response only if necessary." The pairs spread out across the mat. Maya walked between them, offering guidance and adjustments. "Good fence position, Mrs. Chen. Keep those hands up where they can be seen." Perfect voice command, firm but not aggressive. Jamal worked with an older man, demonstrating how to maintain balance while creating distance. "See how you can step back without crossing your feet? That's it. Always keep your base strong." Near the heavy bags, Tasha showed a group how to check kicks safely. "You don't need to block with force," she explained. "It's about deflection, redirection. Let their energy work against them." Ariel's camera caught Maya pausing beside a teenage girl who looked uncertain. "What's troubling you?" Maya asked quietly. The girl hesitated. "What if they're bigger? What if they don't listen when I say stop?" Maya nodded, understanding. "That's why we train. Not to fight, to be ready. To know in our bones that we deserve respect. That knowledge changes how we carry ourselves." The girl straightened slightly, trying the fence position again with new determination. As the class wound down, Maya gathered everyone in a circle for closing remarks. "Remember, strength isn't about domination. It's about boundaries, respect, and community. Each of you here today is part of something bigger, a commitment to change how we treat each other." After the participants filed out, Maya walked to a special spot on the wall where Leon had installed a simple wooden plaque. She took off her training gloves, the same pair from the exhibition fight, and hung them carefully on 2 hooks. The small note was still tucked inside, its message unchanged. "Win clean." Sam approached with a cleaning cloth. but Maya waved him off with a smile. "Let them collect a little dust," she said. "They've earned their rest." Tasha finished packing up the equipment, while Ariel reviewed footage on her camera. Jamal helped the last few seniors locate their belongings, earning grateful pats on the shoulder. The late morning sun cast long rectangles of light across the gym floor. Maya stood for a moment, taking in the peaceful atmosphere, so different from the adrenaline-soaked aggression of Brannigan's domain. Here, there was no need for dominance displays or forced respect. Strength flowed from mutual understanding, from boundaries honored and consent given freely. She stepped toward the door, ready to head home and rest before tomorrow's sessions. The sunlight outside felt warm and clean on her face. In her mind, she heard Leon's voice from their last private conversation. "You fought their kind of battle, and still made it yours." I hope you enjoyed that story. Please share it with your friends, and subscribe so that you do not miss out on the next one. In the meantime, I have handpicked 2 stories for you that I think you will enjoy. Have a great day.